If you somehow remove
all
of the
disgusting
blood vessels in your body and tied them together, if you started in New York, your blood vessels would make it all the way to the Grand Canyon. It would go on to reach all the way across the Pacific Ocean. Not only would it make it all the way back to your starting point, but it would be able to make this trip 2 to 4 times
Ain't no way. I did not know I was that long. See, a girl can't say that I'm small. I'm long now. How tall are you? Yeah, about 4 Earths. I just got out of bed 2 seconds ago and I'm making a video on Zack Films. I got that bonnet on. See, I ain't brushed my teeth. I ain't none of that. You can't smell me though. You know what I'm saying? Through the screen. Oh! Yo, skitty. Hey, today YouTube, we'll be looking at some Zack Films, and if I laugh, the video ends.
When you shave a hair, you expect it to grow back normally. But occasionally, as the hair grows, it will actually curl back into the skin. This leads to what's known as an ingrown hair. Now, most people think you're just supposed to pluck these out, but that will actually just irritate the area more. If possible, you should guide the tip of the hair in the right direction so it continues to grow correctly.
So that's what happens. I be thinking like, I be having mad bumps in my face because, you know, I have a face full of hair, as you can see. Like, bro, I thought it's just like, it just bumps that go up. Like, it's just crazy.
Get stitches. A doctor threads a needle through your wound and pulls it tight to close the skin. As the stitches hold the edges together, the wound becomes inflamed as new cells begin to repair the tissue. Afterwards, connective tissues and collagens start to create
straight
skin.
to the point.
Then blood vessels form to nourish these developing tissues, filling in the area. And over a few weeks, the wound will have healed together and the stitches are removed.
Bro explained everything better than any other teacher that I've learned from. Real talk. It's crazy how the human body can repair itself too. That's just crazy.
If you get a splinter,
ooh,
most
I hate
people
these.
just
They're the
go
worst.
ahead and pull them out. But sometimes they get lodged so deep into your skin that you can't reach them. If the area gets infected, it will start to swell as pus forms under the skin. This creates pressure around the splinter that can sometimes push it upwards towards the skin's surface. And if you're lucky, after a certain period of time, your body could have completely removed it from your skin.
Or if you're lucky, the splinter will stay in your body the whole rest of your life. And then you got wood in your finger, my boy, and you're cooked. Everybody coming out cooking, you see this, you're cooked, bro. Real talk.
Have you ever noticed how odd the McFlurry spoon is? Well, some people think it's supposed to work like a straw, but you only have to try that once to realize it does not work. The true reason for these weird spoons is actually pretty genius. You see,
what is the point of
McDonald's
it?
didn't want to clean their beaters after every McFlurry, so instead, they designed a spoon that would also work as the mixer.
Yeah, that ice cream McDonald's be hidden though. It'd be good. It really do be good, man. The fact when I get a McFlurry, I put my finger in the hole in the spoon and eat like that, bro. I just be like,
Through.
if you use a modern weapon against ancient protection, it wouldn't work. What a shocker. Of course it wouldn't work. Like, it would go straight through it. Of course, if you got a 9, bro, or you got some metal, it's gonna go straight through it if it's that thin. Let's be real.
When a doctor gives you a shot, they can sometimes accidentally push the needle all the way through your vein, which ends up puncturing both sides. Once the needle is removed, it leaves 2 holes in the vein. And before the body can thicken the blood and seal these holes, it bleeds into the surrounding tissues. This leaked blood forms a dark, tender area under the skin, creating bruises and splotchy areas.
I love how uncomfortable and realistic these animations are. Like, I literally felt that needle go inside my body just then. I felt that junk. Did you feel it too? I low-key felt that. If I ever heard a doctor just say, oops, I just died. You get stuck by a needle, oops, my bad. Yeah, you're cooked, buddy. I'm not gonna lie, after watching 4 of these videos, I have new fears now, bro. Blood vessels being stripped out of my body, needles going through my veins, bro. There's no hope for SARS, man.
Have you ever wondered how this trick is done? It's one of those
I've seen
things where
that.
you know he can't actually be making the salt disappear, but it's still confusing to look at.
I broke down this video a million times and I still have no idea how he does
Well,
it.
it turns out that the simplest explanation is the right one. Look closely at his hand during this shot. Do you notice how he sort of grabs his thumb here? Well, this is because he's using a prop called a Dofi finger. He holds it in his fist like a cup, fills it up with the salt, gets it onto his other thumb, and then grabs it off his thumb back into the first position. Watch it again and see if you can notice.
That guy is smooth, bro. I ain't gonna lie, hands down, that's probably the most smooth, realistic, entertaining trick I've seen. How to make the coke disappear from the officer. You know what I'm saying?
If you lose one of your adult teeth, the bone where the tooth once was can start to deteriorate. To prevent further damage, a dentist will fill the cavity with a synthetic material that mimics real bone. Once filled, a metal bracket is secured on top and the incision is closed. After the graft has healed, a large implant post is inserted into the new bone. Then a small metal piece is screwed in and a porcelain tooth is secured on top.
They drill into your gum? I'm not gonna lie, one of my, I'm okay afraid of dentists, bro. Mom be like, don't worry about it. Dentists aren't scary. Dentists, it'll drill into your gum. Like, bro, that's like some horror game type of stuff. It really is.
If you accidentally touched a table saw, you'd probably think your fingers would be cut off. But this isn't always the case. You see, some modern high-end saws actually know the difference between wood and your skin. Once your finger comes in contact with these special saws, it immediately detects the electrical conductivity from your skin. This triggers an immediate mechanical response that stops the blade in less than 5 milliseconds.
Ooh, that's low-key again invention, bro. I know a lot of people, I ain't gonna lie, if you lost your finger before this invention, man, hey, you came a little too late. I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of crazy.
When a honeybee stings a human, they actually get stuck for a while and can't leave. And this is because their stinger is barbed, which means it can't retract once it's lodged into something. But once the bee finally pulls away, its insides get ripped out because the stinger stays in the skin. This leaves the bee without some of its internal organs, resulting in its death.
You tell me he dies when he stings someone. Then why would you sting somebody then? When a bee stings you, it expends its own life to make you feel pain to show how much he hates you. Like, that's literally what it is, bro. Beats about some, it's hurt me more than it hurt you. Nah, that's crazy.
Have you ever wondered about this little dangly thing at the back of your throat?
Most girls don't have gag reflexes, bro. If a girl don't have a if she don't have a gag reflex, bro, run, bro.
Well, even though it looks like a miniature punching bag, it actually serves a handful of important functions. You see, when you swallow food, this thing called a uvula actually swings backwards to prevent the food from going up your nose. It's also constantly producing saliva to keep the throat moist, which aids in swallowing.
So why does that help me at nighttime? My throat be mad dry though. Like I be sleeping, my throat be so dry. I'm like, yo, like I need some water and it's not making no saliva back there. So I think I'm just broken.
If you're trapped in the trunk of a vehicle, you should immediately start searching for the glow-in-the-dark release hatch. If you don't see the latch, don't panic. Trunks are not airtight, so there's no risk of running out of oxygen. Try feeling around the edges of the trunk for a handle. This may allow you to release the seat back. As a last resort, kick out one of the brake lights. This small opening will allow you to signal for help.
Kidnappers, they taking notes, bro. Like Zack, like you over here snitching. Like you gotta let these people know. I never knew that in the trunk that the latch, it glows in the dark. I never knew that. That's pretty cool.
Imagine waking up in a coffin and realizing that you were mistakenly buried alive. Now, this wouldn't happen with the medical guidelines we have today. But in the 19th century, old coffins were found with scratch marks on the inside, making this a legitimate concern.
That is straight terror.
So as a solution, they started adding strings inside the coffins that traveled up to the ground and were connected to a little bell. And if you woke up underground in a coffin, you could just ring the bell, signaling that you're still alive.
This is honestly like a worst nightmare for anyone. Being buried alive is literally the worst thing, man. Like it's like you saying, now what's your emergency? I'm buried alive. It makes no sense.
If you're stuck in a water slide that's filling up with water, most people think they should try to climb back up. But the slippery surface makes this nearly impossible. Instead, focus on staying calm and try to create space for air by tilting your head back.
Dude, I swear every video I watch of Zack's films, it's like a new fear is getting unlocked, bro. Imagine going on the slide again, trapped in the middle of all the water coming up in the front of the like, come on, man. Who would try to go back up though?
If water keeps rising, use your hands to push yourself forward. If you can't move, brace yourself as the water fills the slide entirely. Once the pressure equalizes, you may be able to push forward and float to safety.
Nah, but what if the water just goes up and up and up and up? You just stuck there, bro. What do you do there? You just stuck. Brace yourself. Nah, like you should be dead laid out, my boy, respectfully.
If you get a skin tag, some people think you can just rip them off yourself, but you actually shouldn't do this. You see, skin tags are connected to your body by a thin piece of tissue. And if you looked inside of it, the tag actually has its own nerves and blood vessels.
Dude, when I was young, I've seen like old adults have this, bro. And I'd be like, oh, they got boogers on their neck.
Ripping it off would cause significant bleeding, and the open wound would be susceptible to infection. Instead, if you want them removed, a doctor can freeze them off with liquid nitrogen, which is a better option.
That's crazy, because doctors, they be like, you be like, take off my skin tag. Sure. All right, let me get $1,000 about you, my boy, for them neck boogers you got on the back of your neck. As much information Zach is giving out, I can dead ass open a clinic and have a medical info and just get it from this guy's video, respectfully. But also, you don't rip it out because it might bleed, low key.
Have you ever wondered why the letter E isn't used to grade? Teachers use A, B, C, D, and F, but they skip E.
Yeah, what? Bro, I did not notice that until now. Like, what
is this? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. You see, back in the day, schools did use the letter E, but in the 1930s, they decided to stop after students and parents thought that it meant excellent. It was quickly replaced with F, because F for failed made more sense.
Oh, okay. So they couldn't use E because they thought it meant excellent. But what about L for fantastic? You know what I'm saying? F can mean fantastic, fun. You know what I'm saying? Dad got an A. It's because you're adopted. Like, come on, bro. Let's be real. Like it can mean any other thing. It literally can.
The soldier's foot would break through a hidden bamboo slat and into a hole if they stepped onto a cartridge trap. Inside, a bullet was positioned on top of a nail that was fastened to a wooden board. And when the soldier's foot hit this shell, it pushed the nail into the primer. This caused the shell to suddenly explode and shoot back up at the soldier.
That is mean. At this point, bro, Zach is low-key preparing us for World War III, bro. Also, my name is Zach too. That's crazy. My name is Zach. My real name is Zach. I go by Zars on YouTube, but my real name is Zach.
If you plucked out a single strand of your hair, it could hold about 40 pennies without breaking. But if you braid just half of all your hair into a rope, the combined strength could hold up a large SUV. And
then why do we use tow hooks? There's no way my hair can pick up a car. At that point, why can't I pick up a car?
If you add in all of your hair into the rope, it could withstand about 15 metric tons, which is about the weight of a young gray whale.
I don't believe this at all, bro. You know what I'm saying? Do you have any rope? Nah, I got my hair though. You know, here you go. I got my hair though. So you're saying my hair can lift a whole elephant in a well too? That's just crazy. Hey, I can literally flex. I can say go to the gym. Yeah, I can pick up a well. I can pick up a train, a well. You know what I'm saying? I can pick up a bus. You know what I'm saying? That's all of y'all too. Real talk. So why go to the gym when you're already strong?
When you use a derma roller, it pushes a bunch of tiny needles into your face, creating small punctures across the surface. Your brain perceives these small holes as wounds, which triggers your body's natural healing response. The body then sends out cells to make collagen and elastin, which helps your skin stay firm and stretchy. Over time, these cells strengthen the skin, giving a firmer and more youthful appearance.
You know, I need that, you know, because I have a hair full. I have so much hair on my forehead, on my face right now, bro. I have so much hair. You know what I'm saying? Could you stab me real quick? Why? Internal youth. Duh. Like, bruh. Like, imagine getting stabbed in the face to have facial hair. I would not do that, bro. And these animators are just trying to kill me with this stuff, bro. It looks so graphic, bro. A little needles going to your skin is just too much, bro.
A few days ago, I showed you how this trick.
Ain't no way. This dude gotta be Baki, bro. What's that dude from Dragon Ball Z? This dude gotta be Monkey Yazo from Last Airbender.
Was done, and I was wrong. This is how I originally explained it: cane, base, rods, back brace, harness. All that's left for the magician to do is use his core strength to pull his legs up. Well, this magician, known as Special Head, left a comment on my TikTok. He also made a response video proving that my theory is wrong. There appears to be no base or harness. In fact, Special Head has some other videos online where he just touches someone's head and levitates.
Dude, he'd make it look so effortlessly.
So what's going on here?
He gotta be
What's
that
the
strong.
real
Dude, he's farting. That's why it's propelling himself upwards and he's levitating all farting, bro. Real talk.
If you chip a piece off of your tooth, a dentist might shave down the surrounding area. Then a bonding material that matches your tooth color is applied and shaped to match the original appearance. Once the shape is near perfect, a special light hardens the material, making it as durable as the tooth. Finally, the dentist polishes the tooth to blend it seamlessly with the others.
Yeah, I had this happen to me. I knocked my teeth out when I was younger, and I had this for like probably 8 years. And now, look at my smile now. Look at me. Look at me now. Yeah, little smile. The only thing I found disturbing about this clip is when the tooth piece went down his throat, bro. Yeah, like that made me want to just, you know what I'm saying?
If you stepped on a World War II landmine, 3 prongs hidden just beneath the surface would immediately sense the pressure. This pressure would release a striker pin, activating a fuse. Then an initial explosion propels the mine upwards,
Oh, that's just
reaching
mean.
about waist height. In the air, the fuse reaches the main charge inside, causing the mine to explode. The casing shatters, ejecting metal fragments at high speeds in all directions.
Thanks for the advice. I won't step on a World War II freaking landmine, bro. Propelling in the landmine just in front of your balls is just evil too as well, man. You know what I'm saying? You have no kids. Coming out, no kids. You see this? You have no kids at all, my boy.
If you touch a cactus, you'll probably get the spines stuck in your skin. And if you try to pull them out, you can actually break them off in your flesh because they're so fragile. So instead, you should apply a layer of glue over the area. Once it is dried, quickly peel it off in a smooth motion. This will pull out the spines evenly, causing them to stay intact.
Why would you ever touch a cactus anyway, though? What is the point of that? If I touch a cactus, I've already made some questionable decisions about this, about myself.
Do you notice something weird about how Putin walks? He swings his left arm freely, but his right arm seems like it's stuck to his side.
That boy got a button over there, and the button that just nukes anybody that look at him the wrong way.
Some people have speculated that because this is a sign of early Parkinson's, Putin might be at risk. But the real reason he walks this way has nothing to do with his health. Putin was a KGB officer for 16 years, and in the KGB manual, it spells out the specific way officers should walk so they can always be prepared to handle their weapons. This style of walking perfectly describes the way Putin walks today. Other long-term KGB officers also seem to walk the same way.
Imagine being a spy and people recognize you from the way you walk. They just know who you are. You know, I'm gonna just try to walk like that for a minute. I'm gonna see. They think, oh, this dude is a freaking spy, bruh.
They opened the pallet of ammunition only to find it was full of Tootsie Rolls. You see, Tootsie Roll was a code name for mortar rounds, which the Marines desperately needed. But the radio operator who received the order didn't know that and sent the actual candy instead.
Bro.
At first, the Marines were angry, but the sub-freezing temperatures had frozen all their food, and the candies ended up sustaining them over the next few days. They even used them to plug bullet holes by warming them up and letting them freeze in place. And eventually, the real mortar rounds did arrive.
I ain't gonna lie, the operator was a hero in disguise for real. He really was, though. Let's be honest, he really was. You got food and you got guns, bro. What all do you need is in America? In America.
If you swallowed a watermelon seed, some people think that it could potentially sprout in your stomach, meaning you'd literally be growing a watermelon inside of you. Now, this is obviously not true. Your stomach acid would dissolve the seed before it had time to grow. But there was a case of a man who swallowed a pea that ended up going down the wrong way. And months later, after being rushed to the hospital because of breathing problems, a doctor discovered that the pea had been ingested in the man's lung. And because lungs are warm and moist, the pea was able to split open and sprout into a plant.
Wow, that's another fear unlocked, man. I keep getting new fears unlocked every single day at this point, man. Bro got the oxygen straight from the source. Real talk.
The army ant is placed on the wound and positioned so its jaws clamp tightly on the edges, securing them together. Then the ant's body is twisted off, leaving its head and mandibles in place, which acts as a stitch. More are added depending on the size of the wound, and these ant stitches are left in the skin until the edges of the wound stay closed on their own.
It's like you cut yourself open. All right, let me get some more ants real quick. I'll be right back. That's just crazy, man. Y'all use the ants, bro. That's messed up. Like, this gotta be some medieval type of thing, man. Stitches were invented in 1920. People back in 1919 just using ants to make stitches. This is crazy. That had to hurt too. Imagine getting bit by something. I can't think about it. Another fear is unlocked.
When you pump gas in your car, there's this tiny hole connected to a valve that sucks in air. This air intake keeps the fuel flowing smoothly as it fills your car. But as soon as the tank is full, the gas covers this hole, stopping the airflow and creating a vacuum inside. And this change in pressure triggers the pump to stop the flow of gas.
No, when you're filling your car up, you're pumping facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you get what I'm picking up, bro. You picking what I'm dropping down, bro. Hey, you pumping facts though, real talk. The world needs to know Zack, bro, because you learn more about life than just going to school. I ain't know that. I knew something was going on, but I ain't knew it was a little bit of hole.
You know the equal sign in math? Well, back in the day, people actually wrote is equal to instead. And mathematician Robert Ricord was getting tired of writing it over and over.
Yeah.
So in 1557, he started using two horizontal lines instead. He figured since the two lines were the same size, they were equal to each other, which made it the perfect symbol for equality.
Props to this man for making math just a little bit more easier and also a little bit more annoying too, because math is annoying. I remember, hey, after 5th grade, math was just annoying. You know, at this point, you got all this other stuff that doesn't even amount to life. Why do I need pi? Like, what am I gonna do with pie? When I heard that term in school, bro, I thought it was like a real pie finna go eat, and the teacher's finna have a pie into the room, bring, we all get some pie. But no, it was like a real like equation. Like, yeah, I'm done.
If an grow.
Why do people think octopus are aliens though? Do you think they're aliens? I don't think they're aliens. Octopus literally said, not today. You ain't forget me today, man. Lost 2 of my limbs. Octopus, not my problem, man. But low-key, that could be an infinite food glitch though. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? Infinite food glitch. It really is.
If you shoot at bulletproof glass, the outer layer absorbs the impact and shatters. But under this is a tough plastic sheet that acts as a web, catching the shattered glass. The energy is then evenly distributed across the surface, which reduces the bullet's force. And if that isn't enough to stop it, there's another layer of glass backed by more plastic that ensures the bullet would not make it all the way through.
I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, glass has been real quiet since this short has dropped, bro. I'm not gonna lie. There's no glass, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, we all chilling until the bullet number 2 starts to fly in. And you like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? You're cooked.
If you took out one of your bones and somehow molded it into a chunk about this big, you might think it would be completely crushed under the weight of a car. But human bones are actually made of a tough mix of minerals and a stretchy protein called collagen. And this makes them so strong that a single cubic inch can support the weight of nearly 5 standard cars.
So I can pick up cars now. You know what I'm saying? Never felt, hey, I can pick up cars now, and so can you, bro. Let's be real. But I can just pick up a car. You know what I'm saying?
When you swallow food, it's supposed to go down your esophagus, which leads to your stomach. But there's this different route that leads to your lungs called the trachea. And the trachea sits right next to your esophagus. Now, when you swallow, the fleshy parts in your throat move over the trachea, so the food won't go down it. But sometimes, if you eat too fast, the fleshy parts of your throat don't do their job, and the food goes down your trachea.
Oh my
also known
gosh.
as the wrong pipe.
Dude, I remember one time I was eating, bro, in lunch. You know what I'm saying? I saw like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? Like, that food was hitting. Some days school lunches are bad, but some days, bro, it be hidden. I ain't gonna lie, it do be hidden. Now I understand why my parents tell me to slow down while I'm eating dinner. It makes sense now.
If you lose your leg, the skin will close up over the stump and you'll be legless the rest of your life. This is true for almost all creatures, but there is an amphibian called an axolotl that does something different. You see, when this creature loses a limb, the wound quickly closes up to prevent infections. But shortly after, a mass of cells known as a blastema form at the injury. As these cells grow, they morph into bone, nerve, and skin cells. And over time, these cells entirely rebuild the creature's limb from the inside out.
At this point, bro, I just like the way he explains stuff. He makes it sound so simple. Because it really is simple.
Inserting Q-tips in your ear actually just pushes most
I
of the
never use
earwax
Q-tips,
further
man.
in.
Never.
This is so bad for you that even the Q-tip box says not to do it. But odds are you'll still use them even after watching this video. Why? Well, using Q-tips leads to what dermatologists refer to as the itch-scratch cycle. The more you use them, the more your ears itch. And the more your ears itch, the more you use them.
My mom stopped me from using this. I see why it's so bad to use Q-tips now. Back to its normal state then, no?
In 1970, a doctor removed the head of a monkey and transplanted it with another one.
What? Dude, scientists back then were crazy, dog. This is just crazy. That one unemployed doctor on a Monday afternoon is doing stuff like this.
Painstakingly connecting the tissues in the neck to the donor head. Now, the monkey survived, regained consciousness, and was able to see and hear. But the spinal cord couldn't be connected, so the monkey was unable to move its body. And while the procedure was technically successful, the monkey only lived for a few days.
That's how I lost my medical license. You know what I'm saying? Want to switch bodies? I bet. Let's do it. That's just crazy, dog.
When you pull the trigger of a gun, it releases a pin which strikes the primer at the base of the cartridge. Inside this cartridge is a chemically explosive substance known as smokeless powder. The impact from the firing pin ignites this powder inside the cartridge, creating a high-pressure gas that rapidly expands. This energy pushes forward and forces the bullet out of the cartridge, driving it down the barrel of the gun.
Oh, wow. Now I know how a gun works. Of course I know how it works. Look at me. Look at me. Of course I know how it works.
If you find yourself in a room with walls closing in,
dude, this is literally like a dream. I be sleeping a dream and the walls closing in, you wake up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally a fear.
Immediately begin to panic. But this wastes time and energy. Instead, look for any mechanism or button that might stop the walls. If you can't find one, use any available objects to wedge between where the walls are moving, providing more resistance to slow them down. If that fails, try climbing up and find a space above the moving walls where you can escape the crushing force.
Bro just made a whole Mr. Beast video. On top of that, bro, Jigsaw. This is like Jigsaw 101 right here. It literally is. Brother, that has given me a solution to a problem that I never existed. Real talk. I mean, you never know. You might just go to sleep one night and wake up in a room in real life that's closing in on you, bro. You never know. So take notes, man.
If you lost your finger, most people assume you'd be fingerless the rest of your life. But if
that boy throwing up gang signs, bro.
If you manage to get to a hospital quick enough with your cleanly severed finger that isn't too damaged, a surgeon can meticulously connect the tiny blood vessels and the tiny nerves, which reestablishes blood flow and sensation. And if this is done with expert precision, your finger can be reattached, restoring its normal function.
That is cool, man. Hey, let's try it out. Let me get a knife. Hey, who got a knife? Who got a knife over here? Let's try it out. Let's see. Doing it. Oh, dang, the wrong wires, bro. Finger explodes. Then you have no finger or no hand or no life, my boy. Like, why did I think for a second he's gonna say it's gonna grow back?
If your ear gets ripped off, you can actually take some cartilage from your rib cage. Then a doctor will carve it into the shape of an ear and place it into a pocket of skin on your forearm. Inside your arm, it develops and forms new blood vessels and skin. Once it is fully developed, the new ear is removed from your arm. The new blood vessels are attached to your ear hole, and the skin is carefully stitched to your head, giving you a new ear.
You know, Trump taking notes, bro. He literally taking notes at this point, man. See, Zack Zack knew what he was doing, bro. Perfect timing. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Charles, hey, that's the infinite ear glitch right there.
When an ant bites you, it grabs your skin with its pinchers, but it's not actually the pinchers that hurt you. You see, the ant uses them to hold on to your skin, but then they bend their bodies upwards and stab you with their stinger. Now, because they're holding
He penetrate you, bro. That ain't better pay some child support, my boy. Ant's been violating my innocence, bro. Real talk. So how do you lose your V card? By Ant?
onto you with such a good grip,
Bro,
it
better use
allows
protection.
the ant to sting you multiple
Yo!
times in the same area.
You better use
This injects
protection.
you with their venom, which causes that sharp stinging pain.
Bro, imagine getting raw dog by an ant, bro. That's probably all of us in our whole entire lives, bro. We got raw dog by an ant.
If you step on a pressure release mine, theoretically, it would trigger a spring mechanism inside that pulls back a firing pin. Now, if you stay completely still and don't step off, supposedly the firing pin won't move. But if you remove any weight, the firing pin hits a detonator, causing an explosion. Now, this idea was popularized by wartime propaganda and movies at the time. In reality, these mines don't actually operate like this. Most of them detonate as soon as any pressure is applied.
If you step on a pressure release mine, you would die.
If you feel a blockage in your ear, you might have a huge chunk of
Ugh,
earwax
why do they make
stuck
that
in the
noise?
canal. This waxy substance is naturally produced by your body to
Why does it
protect
sound like
and
that?
lubricate your ears. But sometimes it can build up and harden, preventing you from hearing properly. And if you use a cotton swab to try to remove it, you'll probably end up pushing it further in. Instead, experts recommend
Noise.
using an over-the-counter drop that softens the wax, allowing it to exit the canal naturally.
Dude, your ear is peeing. Nah, don't worry. I'm softening my ear. I'm softening my earwax chunk. Dude, the sounds of that earwax just made me feel a little uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie to you.
There is a secret about Skittles that the company doesn't want you to know about. You see, they claim that the candy comes in 5 different flavors, but the actual truth is that they all taste exactly the same. The only difference is their color and scent. And according to neuropsychologists, that's enough to trick your brain
No
into
way.
thinking they have different flavors.
I've been lied to my whole life.
If you get a blister, most people assume you're supposed to pop them. But should you actually do this? Well, blisters usually form on a spot of your skin that has become damaged. And inside the bubble, there is a small pocket of clear fluid that builds up. This fluid actually protects and heals the skin underneath, acting as a barrier to keep it clean. But when you pop a blister, it exposes the skin prematurely before it has time to properly heal,
Oh, we need a primary school teacher. I can't, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
which is why you shouldn't pop them.
Dude, I've always thought, especially when you get burnt, bro. You know what I'm saying? I see why. When you get burnt, it forms a pus on your arm to protect the skin. You try so hard not to pop it though, but it's like you don't do it anyway.
Most people think soda tabs have this hole so you can turn it around and stick a straw through it.
It's smart.
This prevents the straw from bobbing around, keeping it in place. And while this is a pretty handy trick, it isn't the actual reason for this hole. You see, the original soda tabs had a hole big enough to stick your finger through. And this was because in the original design, you literally had to peel and pull the can open. Now, when soda company switched to this new design, they kept the hole as a relic from the older tabs, and also because it saves on aluminum.
But sometimes when you pull it back too hard, the whole thing comes out and falls into your coat, and then you can't drink because you're gonna be getting anxiety from drinking it, and I think it's gonna go down your throat. You're gonna just choke and die.
When a gun shoots a bulletproof vest, the bullet will hit and possibly tear through the first layer. These vests are made with multiple layers of super tough fibers that catch and slow down the bullet. Upon impact, the vest's fibers disperse the bullet's force, lessening it. And while the impact can still cause broken ribs and bruising, the vest keeps the bullet from entering your body.
The bullet hit you? Nah, but my rib is broken. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how I can break a rib from that force of hitting you, body, bro. How do you see the bullet? Bro reacted before the bullet even hit him, bro. Look at this.
Shoots a bullet.
Like, bro, that bullet would have been so quick you wouldn't even know it hit you, bro.
If you cut a pilonidal cyst in half, you'd probably find a clump of hair inside. Now, these hairs typically fall from your head and down the back of your shirt. And as you ruffle around throughout the day, they move down to this area and eventually
going on his
embed into
butt.
your skin. Your body perceives them as a foreign object, and the area becomes inflamed. Now, this can eventually cause a cyst to form that entraps more and more hairs as they fall.
There are little snakes on your back. Oh, nah, that's just my hairs.
Did you know the tongue is actually not the strongest muscle in the body? The human tongue is technically not even a muscle. It's a group of 8 muscles that control different functions. So what is the strongest muscle in the human body?
Our
Well,
legs.
the muscle that exerts the most force based on its weight is this muscle on your face called the masseter. It's responsible for giving humans biting strength as great as 200 pounds.
You know, a tongue doesn't have bones, but it's strong enough to break a heart, though. Let's be real. It's not a muscle, but it's a group of 8 muscles. Mind blowing. The strongest muscle in your body is like your legs, though.
The bullet was shot at the house and ended up going straight through. Inside, a woman and her fiance froze as the
How do they look at the bullet and track it before it even hit them, bro? There's no way.
stray bullet headed straight for her. But in between them, her trusty tumbler filled with ice water was sitting squarely on the table. And instead of hitting her, the bullet
Ain't no way he's seen a bullet come before it came and jump in front of the bullet.
struck the cup. It sparked against the metal before tumbling harmlessly to the ground, saving her life.
You know, someone who doesn't die in these animations, bro, is low-key the happiest in it. I can't talk. Ugh. Someone who low-key doesn't.
When you wax your hair, you're not just removing the hair above the skin, you're actually yanking out the entire hair from the follicle. Now, this
Okay.
is usually painful because the hairs are held in pretty firmly at the base.
Not for
This is
real.
also why waxed hair takes longer to grow back. And
Like, only imagine a girl getting a wax, bro, down there. That's gonna suck, bro.
sometimes the hair that regrows is weaker and thinner. That's because pulling hair out by the root can damage the follicle, which leads to less hair growth.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
If you somehow remove
Oh my,
all
so
of the blood
disgusting.
vessels in your body and tied them together, you might think it would be about this long. But the human body has thousands of these tiny vessels that weave in and out of every body part. And with all of them combined, if you started in New York, your blood vessels would make it all the way to the Grand Canyon. It would go on to reach all the way across the Pacific Ocean, over Japan, Asia, and all of Europe. And not only would it make it all the way back to your starting point, but it would be able to make this trip 2 to 4 times
Ain't no way. Dude, how come we was never taught this in school? I did not know I was that long. You see, a girl can't say that I'm small. I'm long now. You know what I'm saying? Hey, my vessels, they go across the world, back and forth. You know what I'm saying? How tall are you? Yeah, about 4 Earths. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. Like, I ain't gonna lie. An old boy, he survived a Mortal Kombat fatality too.
If your eyeballs fully popped out of
Oh
your
my
head,
God, that is
you
a
would
creepy
completely
individual.
lose your vision. So what would you actually see? Well, most people think that you would see darkness, like pitch black. But that's not actually true. You wouldn't see darkness because you wouldn't see anything at all. It would be like trying to see out of your elbow. There's no visual input, which means you quite literally
Dude, this is a scary feature right here, bruh. Being scared of the dark, nah. You know, being scared of nothing, bruh. Real talk. Like, there's nothing. It's just dark. It's just nothing. This takes, quote unquote, I fear nothing and I'm afraid of dark to whole new levels. It really do. Real. That be it for today's video, good gang. If y'all enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Man, matter of fact, everybody just like the video up. Like the video up, man. I appreciate all y'all for supporting the videos. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. I'll see y'all boys next video.